glass is almost empty. I don't know right this second. You're somebody else. You just What's up, Manawak? DZ and Frankie, Ali, TJ, BJ running the board. No BJ today. We've got your favorite neighbor, Drew, working the board today. We're going to be joined by, we have our very first-time guest here. Give him a lot of love. Johnny, another guy in our research. He sets up the morning stream every single day, gets here nice and early, starts pulling the news. So we're, Johnny and Drew constantly reading all sorts of different information and crypto news 24/7, pulling it all together, making all this content happen here for you guys. So once again, welcome back in another episode of Blockchain Basement. We're going to be talking about a variety of different things today, a little bit more on the Sam Bankman-Fried FTX stuff. It just never stops, keeps, I feel like we're going to be talking about that for the next probably couple weeks while all this stuff wraps up. We've got grayscale rumors now at this point. We talked a little bit, I think, 2 days ago about Genesis Bank and how that impacts grayscale or really impacts Digital Currency Group, which is grayscale and a lot of other things. So that there's some rumors that are a little bit scary about grayscale potentially going under the Bitcoin Grayscale Trust. Oh, you like my jacket? Thanks, Chemistry. It's a
The Carhartt. It looks
it's a Levi jacket. It's very comfortable.
I
It's
noticed
actually
it this morning too. I liked it.
Yeah, man, everybody liked me. Hey, Ali picked it out. So
You're welcome.
what's that? Oh, I like you too, Taco. Thank you. Yeah, I like all you guys. So, yeah, you come for the crypto, you stay for the fashion. I mean, look at those pants. I mean, come
Look at
on.
this.
It's a shocking, exciting moment every time he walks into the office in the morning. It's
Yeah.
like, look
I've
at
got a lot of unique
What's
sweatshirts.
Taco gonna wear
Yeah,
today?
any truth to the rumors? Well, we're gonna look into that. There's some truth. I mean, I think everything's scary at this point. So, Ben asked me if I thought it was gonna go on. I think they'll be able to cover it, but the question is, are they solvent? There's people out there saying I think the number is 286,000 Bitcoin they're supposed to have in that trust. Where is it? Do they really have it? Where's it? It's supposed to be custodied on Coinbase. And I will say Coinbase, Brian Armstrong made some strong comments, but when a lot of this stuff was breaking, Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, Winklevoss twins haven't been making a lot of headlines recently, which, doesn't necessarily mean anything, but just was thinking about that last night. Like, why weren't they making any statements when all this SBF, FTX stuff was going on? Why weren't they pushing back against the regulation? Maybe because it would have been beneficial for them as well, and maybe they weren't doing the negative things, but complicit in some potential benefits to their business. So all right, and then I think we have some other stuff at the end. We got some stories about Matic potentially turning bullish. I've got a metaverse, so kind of a metaverse conversation for us to get into. There is some inflows right now going into Binance, which is different. We're used to seeing BTC outflows, which generally inflows can mark a bottom if whales are looking to sell. So we need to be careful about that. And if we have some time, pull up some Glassnode charts. I like looking at, I'm not even logged in here. Let me see if I can get logged in. May be able to. I mean, I like looking at the Nupal. I like looking at some top bottom indicators and things that show pretty strong indication that this is an accumulation zone.
Kelly has a great quantifying post on his Twitter from Glassnode.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's really good.
Let's pull it up.
Yeah.
This is the one he showed yesterday on Around the Blockchain.
I think, it
Like
might
the
be.
buy zones and the sell zones.
Yeah, they're pretty profound graphics.
Almost like a heat map.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Well, I've got that up. We can look at it at the end. So, all right, real quick. TJ, your thoughts on Solana FTX? Yeah, so FTX obviously very bad, criminal, fraud, crimes left and right, horrible accounting. We're going to get into that. Some people started the bankruptcy filing came out yesterday, and some people started
Bless you.
Bless me. Some people started digging through it, and we're going to look through some of the findings. Absolutely shocking. The lack of care given to absolutely anything is insane. Like, we know crypto companies are, grow fast, and, it's a startup. Yeah, maybe they're not the most organized, but this is beyond being disorganized. This is pure negligence. So I wanted to start with this thread that kind of sums it up. 6 months ago, the SEC investigated FTX US on multiple matters, and they found no wrongdoing. Instead, they continue to meet with FTX on giving them a no action letter to broaden its reach in the US markets. Given the liquidator CEO says that this was even sloppier than Enron, how was it possibly overlooked? The mess didn't just emerge the last 6 months. The SEC failed at its job while Gensler met directly with SBF to talk about favorable access. The SEC is broken and in shambles under the current leadership. Its rule by enforcement approach has put a chilling effect on U.S. innovation while letting offshore Con men woo regulators. Congress should make viewing this top priority. And I tend to agree 100%. I mean, and when you look at what was missed, it's extremely obvious. Like where am I? Am I hearing myself through your headphones?
Maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Maybe. Yeah. I'm pretty turned up.
I just think it's incredible that they didn't even have an accountant. Like,
yeah,
as an SEC regulator, how are you not looking at that?
Yeah, how do you not see where hey, let's look at your books. Oh, we don't have any books because we don't have an accountant. We don't have anybody to organize that.
What?
It's absolutely incredible. I like NPM Lucky. Is Binance the biggest threat to take market cap from ETH? That's a good question. It's definitely positioning itself to be a major player in the industry. I mean, it is the biggest, Binance.
Oh, he's talking BNB.
Yeah, BNB.
Yeah, is BNB the biggest threat to take market cap from ETH? It's up there. I don't know if they're going to compete for the same market cap. They could. I still see BNB being more of the fast throughput. It may not be as secure as Ethereum, like where there's going to be a lot of games on there and a lot of other, like there might be DeFi on there. We'll see. But I think DeFi has found its place on Ethereum for now. But BNB could, it's not an end all be all. There's place for both of them. I think both market shares will grow dramatically. But it's an interesting thought. What do you think?
I think it's, as someone who's in crypto a lot and wants to save as much money as I can.
Yeah.
I use PancakeSwap more than Uniswap. I use QuickSwap, which is Polygon, more than Uniswap because I save on the fees and I could do limit orders on QuickSwap. So I kind of disagree because I feel like Binance with its super low transaction costs and its throughput, it works fine and it's cheap. So I mean, there's room for all of them, but
yeah, it's just my only counter to that is the security, and it when you have if you're talking big financial products, the security becomes a higher priority. When you're doing things that are less secure that need low transaction fees and speed, I feel like it's a little bit of a different use case, but they both can exist on one chain. I'm not trying to diminish what you're saying. It is put it this way. There's not very many competitors at all to Ethereum, and Binance is definitely one of them. I'll say that much. I don't know if it's number one versus like a Cardano or maybe a Cosmos or I don't know. I did see, this was interesting though. I saw the clip. I think it was from one of the first episodes of this show where we were talking about Solana not returning to all-time highs in the next bull cycle. And we were talking about Solana and Polkadot, which at this point I'm losing faith, obviously, in Solana, but I've been losing faith in both, trying to say hey, which one do we think is going to be the EOS from the 2017 cycle where it has a huge run up, gets really good returns, pumps all the way into the top 20 cryptos, and then is nowhere to be found in the next bull cycle. I feel pretty strongly Solana, not to FUD it, Solana I think is going to fit in that category at this point. Somebody was asking my thoughts on Solana. I don't think it's a dead project. I think it'll be around. I think people will develop and use it, but I don't see it ever returning. I don't see it returning over $258 by 2024, 2025. What do you guys think? Drew?
Oh, man. DZ brought up a really good point. Solana's really good for NFTs. It's a very tight-knit kind of community that NFTs are, and I think that in and of itself might give enough slight use case for it to return somewhere in the $20 to $40 mark eventually after a long time of this goes away and we're in the 24, 25 time frame. And in the short term, I would absolutely not touch Solana with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
So,
one of the biggest projects on Solana, DGods, they're thinking about transferring to a new chain. So if they bring their community along with them, I don't feel like a lot of projects are going to want to launch on Solana in the future. If you see the biggest one that they have move. So
good point.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree 100%. I think there was a lot of NFT activity on Solana, but a lot of that's drying up real quick, and you're seeing people run to Cardano and other places. So I saw a lot of you guys in the chat saying Ethereum's the biggest threat to Ethereum. We've said that a lot. I tend to agree. Somebody else made a really good point too. Rye went, ETH won't have high fees forever either. True. We don't know when it will move. They keep moving that goalpost on us, but eventually they will end up having higher throughput as well with sharding and lower fees. So that alone would make a big difference. I want to move some ADA to the BitBoy pool. Do it. I think Satoshi Glockamoto up there for top username of the month. There should be a guide on how to do that or how to get to B-Pool on the BitBoy Crypto website, I believe.
Yeah, and I think we got links on
Right at the top.
Yeah.
I think it's under projects.
Yep.
And I don't stake with any S-Pool. BJ, you'll get better returns with us. No, I'm just kidding. You can stake with BJ if you want. We love BJ.
I saw someone in the chats going on the cruise or something.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I think
Nice.
someone in
Yeah.
there's got
Yeah,
a-
somebody did say that the other day. They said they just didn't tell their girlfriend it was a crypto cruise.
Mm-hmm.
So, Satoshi Glockamoto, he's sharding. That's good. A lot of NFT platforms built on Solana. It's true. There is a lot of things built on Solana, but even when Solana had good price action, like that's the problem is like what was Solana's #1 selling feature was the price action. It was that insiders traded, whales were buying it. It was going to be pumped up by VCs. Well, all that's gone now. And now you just have a blockchain that is cheap, but may not always be up. And, if you're trying to do a game, if you're trying to trade, if you're trying to run a project, it's very frustrating because who do you think gets blamed, when StepN goes down and you can't do stuff within the game because Solana's not working, everybody gets mad at the project. If a NFT project is on Solana and you can't send stuff back and forth because Solana's down, they're mad at the project. They're not mad at Solana. So that definitely, I think, now that they don't have insiders pumping it up and it's kind of got a tainted, an asterisk next to its name, everybody looks at its previous success completely differently now after all this stuff comes out with FTX. So
there's the cruise.
yeah,
Crypto
sorry.
Thorn.
Yep.
Yeah, just don't tell your wife why there's a bunch of
Bitcoin.
Blue Alliance aliens just running around having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like, who are these?
I need
guys?
ADA for 10 cents. That's pretty low. Who thinks ADA gets to 10 cents? I'm looking at the 20-cent range.
I don't see it hitting 10. I don't see it hitting 10. 20 cents is a good hold line for Cardano for me. But if it hit 10 cents, I'd be buying big time. That'd be really nice for filling my bags up. But
Yeah, let's see.
Can we find out what 10% is on like a drawdown? Is that like 98%, 94%?
Say that again? For what?
For like from the top of what Cardano peaked at to what 10 cents would be? Is that like a 98% retracement?
I'll have to look and see if I can pull.
be pretty
I've looked at the Cardano chart. It's obviously not right in front of me, but I feel like there was good support at 20 cents. And then for the longest time, it was sitting at 10 cents. So it could wick down. So maybe set some buy orders down there and see if you get lucky. I know Crypto Wendy O does that. She'll do like the really, really low, like, no, there's no way it can get that low. But on some exchanges, it could,
Yeah.
and your order can get hit.
And you get those really, really deep red wicks right now with everything going on in the news. I mean, market's acting pretty chaotic with as this whole scandal is unfolding further. I don't think we're going to be done. So, setting super low targets is not a bad idea.
Get my measuring stick here.
Oh, God. And, another thing about Solana is I remember how many times it was out of service. Everyone was making fun of it for being like a McDonald's ice cream machine of cryptocurrency. Now you have the scandal with the VC funds and the slush movement of money that SBF is involved with. I wanted Solana to be something before this whole debacle started, but now I'm just, I'm fine without Solana in 2025.
So it looks like from the top to down to 10 cent. Oh, crap. Can you pull us? I don't know if you can pull us off. I can't move this over, but from all the way down to the bottom is 90. At 10 cents, it's 96%. At 20 cents, it would be 93-ish, 93 and change.
Ooh.
So 93% if we went all the way down to 10 cents or 20 cents, and 96 if we went to 93 at 20 cents, 96 at 10 cents.
Wow. That is a heck of a correction.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but it's not uncommon for altcoins to drop 95-ish%, 95%, which is, yes, an incredible correction. But just keep that in mind, guys. If you guys think, alts right now, like they're kind of teetering on that, either we're moving back up and we're okay, but all of them are pretty much like another downward move for Bitcoin. And I think alts really get wiped out hard. And it's, looking at ones that can recover to all-time highs, it's not going to be all of them. And so keep that in mind. And it's something we keep reiterating over and over and over. Don't do the math of like, okay, well, when Bitcoin was here and DOT was there, all I need to do is Bitcoin to get back to 25K and then my DOT's going to be here. And that's just not always the case.
Right.
Well, and especially the further we go. I mean, I still think we're going to have a lot of time to accumulate through next year. All of 2023, I think, is going to be accumulation zone for a lot of us. So don't feel like you have to go all in right now. But I am at this point, and we're going to get into it a little bit later, some of the impact, I've talked about it on the morning show and a little bit right before we went live. The fact that we're having such majorly negative bad news and it's not dramatically impacting the price gives me some hope that, you know, the bears are at least getting exhausted. The sellers are getting exhausted. We've got a lot of long-term holders. We've got people withdrawing from exchanges, meaning they can't sell anytime soon. So even though it's just retail and the market is really driven by institutions, or it was, now it seems like it's starting to get driven by nations. I'm starting to see that seller exhaustion, which, you know, giving me hope that we don't have that much further to fall. But, you know, what's another 50% at this point, right?
And I think DZ had a good tweet today. He was going over like a bunch of positives. I think like MetaMask downloads went up a lot. I think Treasure and Ledger, their sales exploded. So you're starting to see a lot of people get that message that we've been trying to say, like, own your crypto, not your keys, not your crypto. And those could be bottom indicators. So like people aren't dumping their remaining crypto. They actually want to own it and not put it on centralized exchanges and take a 90, 80, 70% loss, because you've been buying in the last year. I mean, you bought a little bit of the top. Yeah, let's be honest.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
There's what in that tweet I saw. There's an all-time high, I believe, for retail whole coiners.
Yeah,
which made my heart swell when I saw that. The ledger and the self-custody paired with a record whole coiners hit, and it's not being completely gobbled up by institutions, gives a lot of hope for the future for people.
That is good. Yeah, I love to hear that. And somebody says the real thing that's different this time is the alts confidence. Confidence in alts is still at all-time highs compared to last cycle. They were holding better than ever. That is true. Alts confidence. So last cycle, ICOs was the big breakout, and then it was becoming clear in 2018 and especially in 2019 that ICOs were going to be a way of the past. So it looked like all alts could be in question, which I do agree now. Ethereum, not much question there since they made that statement about it. And a lot of other alts people do tend to have a lot of confidence in. I did see Crypto Journal, Algomatic, ETH, and ADA, only alts I'm rocking with right now. And I would say that, you know, I would choose your Coin Bureau take on HBAR scared me away. I didn't hear his take. But I would say that pick a few alts that you like. If you want to invest in alts, that's fine, but just be prepared. They can still drop dramatically from here. And as long as you're okay to hold through that, no problem if you're buying it for the long term. But I would say be prepared for emerging altcoins when there's a confirmed uptrend, because that's what we've seen in the past. When we're in a confirmed uptrend, which will likely be after the next halving in 2024, we've seen the newer projects that come in and get momentum during that period. That's generally where there's a lot of returns on. Atomatic, ADA, Algo, great little mix there. Yeah. You know, those are all very similar to the, you know, where I'm sitting at personally. Like somebody asked the other day, I'm mostly Bitcoin and Ethereum. I do have a little bit of Algo, a little bit of Atom, and some ADA. So yeah, so there's that.
Johnny, what are you getting into? Johnny's got some crazy things.
Johnny's big on layer 2s, right? I know you're a big OP guy.
Yeah, that's you know me. I started out with Ethereum, love Ethereum, still love Ethereum. You know, I love ADA, love all XRP, all the old school ones that, you know, we always talk about. But yeah, layer 2s I think that's where it's gonna be at. Of course, some of the newer ones that are gonna be barely coming out: Optimism, Arbitrum, Scroll, Starknet, all those they all have their little place. Of course, Matic is number one atop all layer 2s, I think.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to get out of him. You know, he's really in tune with layer 2s and the differences between them. How to protect privacy within the OFAC compliant Ethereum ecosystem is going to be a big thing, and Johnny's got some pretty interesting insight on that. So yeah, I mean, but you know, obviously, you know, all of these things that we look at that are speculative plays are high risk, high reward situations that are long time out from paying dividends right now. So keep that in mind when you're looking into these new technologies.
Yeah.
Rywan's asked a question for the group. How many of you stake, and what's your thoughts on staking?
I stake. I mean, we have the ADA pool, which is fairly complicated. There's some easy staking. I know a lot of people, you guys hold Atom, Cosmos. That's one of the easier ones to stake. There is a 21-day lockup period on it, but it's very easy to do on the Trust wallet. I believe a handful of other ones are pretty easy to do on other wallets either. I'm a believer in it when you do it on a self-custody wallet.
Can you please explain staking for the beginners?
Loosely, simply, proof of stake is basically when you lock up your tokens for basically to help validate the network, and you get a small return on the transaction fees or the consensus, whatever the consensus mechanism of the blockchain is, you get a small return for locking up your token. So for example, Atom Cosmos is the one I'm talking about. Say you have $1,000 of Atom, you want to lock it up, you agree, okay, I'm going to keep it locked up within the network, and I have a withdrawal period of, it takes 21 days to withdraw it if I want to. In exchange for that, I'm going to earn, say, 8% APY on my Atom, or annual percentage yield on my Atom over time. So you're getting, and it compounds, and I think it generally pays out different depending on the mechanism, sometimes daily, sometimes, generally a lot of them in real time, so it starts to compound really well over time. So that's what proof of stake is loosely.
Thanks.
Hope that makes sense. Rywince asks, my split between Bitcoin and Ethereum is at 50-50 or 80-20. It's probably 80-20 ETH to Bitcoin, if that makes sense. So heavier in Ethereum than Bitcoin.
Okay. I'm opposite. I'm the basic guy. It's doing 75% Bitcoin, 15% ETH, and then XRP and every ISO thing that I could DCA in along the way.
Yeah, Satoshi Glockman says, I love staking on Osmosis. I mean, you do some staking, don't you, Johnny?
Yeah, I got I do a little bit of staking. I actually kind of a little bit of everywhere.
Yeah, all over the place.
Yeah,
which one of your favorites?
Johnny put me onto the sandbox staking.
Yeah, I was doing sandbox stake. I'm still got a little bit of sandbox. They did away with their LP with Matic. They did when I first got into them. It was with Ethereum and Sand. Then it went to Matic and Sand, and now it's just if you own land, then you get a boosted rate of yield, I guess, rate of return. And then if you do, you also have where you can just do sand by itself, and you also that one I've been in for a while. And safe as you think anything can be at this point in time. That one I'm done. I've been inside the UFO one. That was a more recent one that I had just gotten into, UFO. I like the game that they got going. I've been following them for a while. That one allows you to generate some plasma, which they're going to be minting their little UFO Gs. Sounds pretty cool. So yeah, I try to you know me, I'm always into something new, something fresh.
I'm telling you, every time I walk by his computer, he's got this crazy system going. There's some game that's earning him tokens, and he's got staking all over the place. He's well into it. He speaks pretty humbly, but when you get to see what he's actually doing, these things he's talking about are, I mean, but they're high return, right? For those type of staking situations.
Yes and no, because you're really taking a gigantic risk that some of these gaming tokens are going to take off. We already seen that they've majority of them have lost a great deal of value compared to when they first launched, or just over the past few months. But a lot of that has to do with the overall general markets. These are the smallest market caps that you could possibly think of. So when they lose 30, 40, 50%, it's just a lot.
No.
I like Sofa King Cryptic's message, because like staking is different on like blockchains, centralized, decentralized exchange, liquidity pools. Like Coinbase, you were able to stake your Ethereum, but they had like a lockup period where they said, all right, once E2 comes out, then you can take it out. And then I think they introduced like their own Ethereum coin on like Coinbase Ethereum.
Yeah, synthetic.
Yeah, so you're able to like transfer your staked ETH to that, and then you were able to withdraw. But I believe people still have their ETH locked up there. And yeah, like that's what Johnny's doing, is like layers below just putting your money into Coinbase and earning like 5.75% on algo, or 1.5% on your USDC. Like it's just you can put it in there, and if the exchange is liquid, then you can withdraw it. But that's mostly on chain.
Right. Right.
Yeah, big difference between letting a custodian stake on your behalf and actually doing the staking yourself. So we really advocate for, if you're going to stake, learn how to stake yourself. Obviously, there are going to be products that make it easier for you to do, but just know there is risk in that, and that's what's caused a lot of the insolvencies that we've seen recently. So,
And I saw a comment. It was earlier, but it was something like, how many people are going to transfer their crypto off an exchange and lose it? I mean, that's what we're advocating for, is to learn about how to use this technology, watch the videos on how to move it from a centralized exchange to a custodial wallet, and you won't lose your crypto. If you know what you're doing, if you watch the videos, if you educate yourself, you won't lose your crypto, but it also is a learning curve. If you don't know what you're doing and you're just sending crypto to a random address, you're probably going to lose it if you don't know where it's going.
Absolutely.
So that's why we're advocating. Learn about this technology. It's not that hard. Just input an address. You know what that address is. It's your address. Send it from your centralized exchange to your decentralized wallet. It's very simple.
A question from Crypto Thorn. Question for the group. If you had to use any crypto to use for everyday prices like Starbucks latte, what would you use and why?
Everyday prices or everyday purchases?
everyday purchases.
Everyday.
Well, I am definitely spending fiat. I'm getting rid of my dirty fiat and very greedy with my crypto until 2025. And then I'll probably spend it on a house. But that's just how I'm handling it.
Yeah, you don't want to be spending your crypto, especially at the bottom of the market. Save it for the top. But let's just pretend we're at all-time highs right now, and you're looking to for an efficient way to take profits and spend. I mean, there's a lot of generally speaking, if you're looking for ease of use and experience, you might pay a little bit in fees. But there's a lot of different cards out there that have already partnered with Visa and MasterCard, depending on which service you use. I know Cash App is a really easy one. They have a card that can interact, and you can make payments through it that way. Crypto.com is a really common one. A lot of people use. BlockFi had a card, which obviously you're probably not using that right now.
Right.
But
I actually just got a call today. I was using it to pay for my gym membership. Hey, your card's not working anymore. I'm like, yeah, they went bankrupt.
yeah. Oh, so you had a BlockFi card?
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. And I didn't withdraw like the rewards I had accumulated. It was like $160 in Bitcoin, but I really want that Bitcoin.
Yeah,
Oh.
exactly.
Oh.
That's tough. Well, the other Coinbase has a card you can use as well. I mean, there's a lot of, so to me, that's the easiest way to do it. But to Drew's point, I would just save your crypto, especially right now. Don't use it for Starbucks. I think that's a little overrated. I think it's a little bit further out, but they are slowly getting integrated into different, the Strike app, a lot of people know, uses Lightning Network. They're starting to get those integrated. I think Verifone, if you guys look, those little, point of purchase units that are on almost every single counter everywhere, that's most of them are something called Verifone, and they're all over the world. And I know they have partnerships there, so they're getting easier and easier to do. But really, the big announcement the other day, Apple Pay. I mean, you can do it through Apple Pay now. You can do it through Samsung Pay. So I mean, there's a lot of different ways. But if you just look up card, best Bitcoin spending cards, it'll come right up.
Would that be like using USDC if you have a Coinbase card?
That's what I was going to say.
Yes.
75901. I just got my Coinbase card. Beauty is you can pick which crypto you want to use to pay for stuff, and you can even pick the rewards you get. Like I'm getting 4% in XLM, so that's awesome.
That's
You
pretty
can. I'm using Apple Pay USDC. I've been using it for months. So
Yes, I did, Corey. I think just last night read about Cardano stablecoin coming to the market. I don't know much about it, but yeah, USDA and a stablecoin on Cardano. I mean, obviously, I think they need that on that network.
And I want to say, don't worry, the system is going to come up with 100 ways to Sunday for you guys to get rid of your crypto before this thing is fully integrated into finance. So there'll be plenty of off ramps for you to flee.
Sorry, Crypto Thorn. I know I can trust the basement, but secrets are secrets. Can't tell you guys. All right, real quick, let's keep this moving. I pulled a bunch of stories here. I love just chatting with you guys. Please keep hitting us with questions because I feel like that really is what you guys want, and it's what we want as well. Oops, I wasn't trying to do that. So anyway, this just blew my mind. I don't know how many, have you guys read any of these bankruptcy things of like the stuff that was discovered
Yes.
in yesterday's filing?
Yes.
Wasn't it not just baffling.
It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts.
So, I know it's been a long time since the start of the show, but at the start of the show, we were talking about how they looked into FTX, saw no problems. They were hanging out with Gary Gensler and regulators all the times. So when they, here's a tweet that just says, I read the 30-page FTX bank court filing. How bad were FTX internal controls? Here are some of the worst examples. And this is just a few of them. Employees submitted expense reimbursements over chat. A random manager would accept or reject these reimbursements with an emoji. Related party loans. Alameda, FTX's hedge fund, gave SBF a $1 billion personal loan. They also loaned the director of engineering, Nishad, $543 million. Very few records request. Most decisions were made over chat with messages automatically deleted after a certain time, which is, pretty common, like disappearing messages, secret messages. Not common for accounting and business practices, though.
Right.
FTX, a company valued at $32 billion, never had any board meetings. Neither did they. Most of their subsidiaries. They had no cash management system. They had no idea how much cash was on hand at any given time or even where all their cash was. They didn't keep proper records of who they employed. Employees and contractors commingled throughout the different companies without proper documentation of how they had spent their time. Certain employees can't be located, which could mean that some employees were fake. Corporate funds were used to purchase personal use real estate, and employees and executives put their names on homes purchased with company funds. It's just clear fraud. Crypto deposited by customers weren't even recorded on the balance sheets. Presumably all crypto assets just went into one central slush fund used for whatever, which that part of that did come out in those text messages that came out of Vox Media, where he basically said, we set deposits up to go into this Alameda bank account because FTX didn't have a bank account yet, and I guess we just never realized we just never switched it. So hundreds of millions of dollars of customer funds that were supposed to be deposited in FTX, not only did they just literally never made it to FTX, they were deposited into Alameda right off the rip, and nobody ever realized it. Nobody ever looked. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. The filing makes it clear that Sam Bankman-Fried does not speak for the company and that his erratic and misleading public statements should be disregarded. And it just keeps going and going. And it's like, this is what Elon Musk posted this morning. FTX losing over $1 billion of clients' funds. Senators calling for FTC to investigate Twitter. I mean, it's like it was right in front of their faces. They were talking to him. They were having meetings. They were supposed to be looking into this stuff, and it's just clear negligence. And it just blows my mind how, to this day, they're still out there doing puff pieces on. I mean, even this morning, Forbes did a puff piece on Caroline Ellison. Like everything they've been putting out about SBF, none of it's saying that he's a terrible person and he's a criminal. He should be thrown in jail because he stole billions of dollars and he's the worst fraud since Bernie Madoff. There's he's a smart kid. He was doing something great. I mean, I saw the headline was FTX collapse. Trump foils founders plan to stop
the next pandemic.
The next pandemic.
Yeah, he's gonna save you.
He was gonna save us from the next pandemic, but now FTX blow up. He can't do it. It's like, so sad. And it's like, are you kidding me? Like, this
in my mind, that's like maybe we just took a bunch of money from biomedical research on the next setup that he was trying to fund.
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
That's how deep
You see
I feel
the title and the caption under the Forbes article about this whole thing?
Oh no, I didn't.
No. What was it?
It's saying that Caroline was like a math whiz.
Oh, right. Yeah. She's some genius. And yeah. I mean, I'm sure they're very smart people. These people aren't stupid. I was thinking about that last night. Like the product was still good. I mean, that's part of why the big traders were attracted to it, is they had created a good product, a better exchange than a lot of the other exchanges out there when it came to product.
But they're leaving out crucial details.
Yeah, but they're lying, and they're not talking about the crimes that they committed. So I did have a little retraction here. So John J. Ray was the guy who was the CEO that led Enron through the collapse, which is why when people hear John J. Ray is the one doing this one, everybody assumes it's the same guy. Apparently it's not. It's a different John J. Ray, where there's absolutely nothing on the internet about this guy. So there's very little information or photographs on John J. Ray III, the new CEO of FTX, overseeing its bankruptcy. The photograph of him incorrectly used online actually belongs to a massage therapist named John Joseph Ray. John must be good at his job. So he's very suspicious online.
Did they just make up this person like they made up other employees?
I mean, he's who knows?
Right?
John J. Ray III must be like the corporate version of the wolf from Pulp Fiction. You bring him in to clean up corporate messes, you don't ask any questions, and he disappears into the sunset afterwards. Rare photos of him. Oh. So here he is. So John J. Ray is the one overseeing the bankruptcy proceedings, not to be confused with John H. Ray, who also represented one of the executives at Enron after it blew up. So we were saying that on this show. I did want to come back and make that correction. I am Hit Network on Twitter. So, and a lot of this stuff, yeah, I have retweeted a lot of this stuff, or I do.
That little note makes me feel better that we might not have gone to full idiocracy. You know, the Enron thing was just like, this can't be real.
Yeah,
There's
it was too bizarre.
Yeah.
I agree, and so it is nice to see that there is a little bit.
You know,
I don't know.
I wanted to bring up too those lunch catering costs. I think they're spending $100,000 a month on catering.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, they
yeah.
had the spending of what was going on in the Bahamas is absolutely insane when you look at the apartments and the housing and like you said, the catering that was being done for everybody at the place. And you know, for being so altruistic and money doesn't matter, they were sure blowing a lot of money really fast. So at Hit Network.
And giving out personal loans for
I can't believe $1 billion.
$1 billion
Fine.
straight to myself.
And didn't the second guy behind Sam Bankman get like half a billion?
543 or something like that. Pretty good.
Be nice.
So this is another wrinkle in the whole thing now. Bahamas security regulator says it ordered FTX crypto transferred to government wallets. So this it's going to complicate things a little bit. The Securities Commissions of Bahamas commission in this exercise of its power. Oh, this is just a quote of what they actually did. It's unclear why the commission made the announcement 5 days after placing the order. But the problem is what this is going to do is create jurisdictional issues on who has a claim to this whatever's left. And that's going to, you know, like, is it U.S. regulators who get to prosecute this and try to get the funds back because it was United States citizens' money? Or does the Bahamian government have claim because it was a Bahamian business and, you know, they need to regulate it and take care of the whole bankruptcy proceeding? So what this is going to do legally is slow everything way down, in my opinion. What do you think, Drew?
I think that this is going to add like 2 years to the back and forth at least. Like, this is now becoming a nation state problem of where the company was operating, but then they were, you know, on the internet operating and taking funds from United States citizens. Obviously, the U.S. supersedes Bahama just by force and sure macro factors. But yeah, this is definitely going to slow the process of fixing this situation drastically.
Yeah, I mean, here's a quote here. It says, the filing of the Chapter 15 case without advance notice and in the SDNY is blatantly attempt to avoid the supervision of this court to keep FTX-DM isolated from the administration of the rest of the debtors, which constitute the vast majority of the remainder of the FTX group. Under normal circumstances, that would be inappropriate and grounds for the transfer to this court, but these are not normal circumstances, the attorney said. So
maybe it's good, though, for how degenerate everyone seems to be over there in the previous regime at FTX. Maybe it's the better move to have an SEC organization handling the funds rather than, you know, an open email string with everyone's keys or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to slow everything down. I agree. Like you said, it's going to, I think this is going to be something they use this as a way to drag it out. But what's interesting to me is we're seeing countries fighting over Bitcoin. We covered a tweet on the morning stream saying, you know, I think it was 242,000 Bitcoin the United States holds, making it one of the largest whales in existence right now. Yeah. And we're starting to see, hey, take it easy, Joseph. Starting to see people, you know, the Singapore Sovereign Wealth Fund was in FTX as well. We know, obviously, a lot of, you know, BlackRock, Vanguard, Sequoia Capital, those are United States companies that had a lot of money in there. And so we're starting to see, I think I said it yesterday, this is the nation states fighting, and that's what's causing this bear market. Last time it was the institutions fighting it out that caused the last bear market. This time it's nations. So
it's big.
It's
on that note, like, I was thinking exactly the same thing last night on a podcast, and I was in discussion with a few other crypto influencers, and you know, one thing that kind of came to my mind was a potential for a technological arms race, basically, between the financial sectors, you know, NATO versus BRICS plus, that could end up turning into a white swan event, you know, in 5, 6, 7 years from now, where you might see a dislodgement, CBDCs versus decentralized finance, and one or the other will pick. I don't think they'll both pick the same option. I think that there's going to be a separation at some point there.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Crypto Thorn said, imagine the media story if Elon took money from SBF to get Twitter. The FBI would be in the head courts right now. Yeah, I agree. That would have been crazy. And it's crazy that they were pushing that. Like, was that a setup to foil the whole, like, what if they had, would the whole Twitter deal be done? Like, you know what I mean? That would be crazy. Singapore wants to be ahead in crypto for sure. I lived there 7 years. My dad lives and works there still. Most financial businesses there are trying to get ahead on crypto. That's from Chemistry Bro. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, we know Singapore is a very, very big crypto heavy place. There's a lot of VC money there, and it was all being pushed to FTX at the time. And they had, like I said, the government themselves were invested in FTX. That I always want to say Tencent. Is it Tencent?
Temasek.
Yeah, Temasek.
Temasek.
Yeah. I always get it mixed up with Tencent, but Temasek is one of their big money firms. So here's how Bitcoin is really doing after the FTX episode. This was an interesting take on sentiment that I thought was just a little bit different. According to Sentiment, all the focus around centralized exchanges has taken the cryptos community away attention, which Sentiment monitors social sentiment on the internet. So they're looking at the crypto community's attention has been away from Bitcoin. Historically, a decline in social dominance is always met with a decline in price. So this was just a pretty interesting little graph here. It's probably hard for you guys to see. If I can push in on it. Basically, you can see relative high BTC social dominance. Which one is big? It looks like. And it's tracking along crypto.com, high social dominance, relative high BTC social dominance, price starts to bounce. You got Kraken and KuCoin. Now it's all about FTX, where you've got people actually talking about the word Bitcoin. Oh, it's falling off there. There you go. The word Bitcoin extremely less, and it's directly related to the price. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. So as evidence in the chart, there has been a correlation between Bitcoin's prices and its social dominance. When an exchange sees a spike in social dominance, as was the case with the crypto.com and the decline of Bitcoin's price, the pattern was observed repeatedly with other exchanges such as Binance and FTX. So it's like when other things come up and the price goes down. Now, obviously, this is going to be tied to bear markets and bull markets a lot more too. I just thought it was interesting, which, of course, if you go look at Google Trends, when Bitcoin price is pumping, everybody's looking up the Bitcoin price. So it's like, some of them will, like the price going up will create more attention on it. And then the more attention on it, the more the price goes up and vice versa. So it's just, I thought it was interesting to look at. If Bitcoin does not regain its social dominance in the future, there may be a possibility that BTC prices drop further. This while other exchanges keep garnering attention. However, at the time of this writing, Bitcoin's social dominance has risen somewhat over the last few days. BTC's price followed suit, as witnessed in the uptick over the same time period. Bitcoin's velocity noted a huge spike as well, implying that the number of times Bitcoin moved between addresses had increased significantly over the past few days. This signaled a decline in activity for Bitcoin. Another indicator of decreasing activity would be the decline in Bitcoin's mean transaction volume. So this is where you can see it here, where it pumped up, and then this is the attention here, these red going up and down. So anyway, I just thought it was, in the meantime, miners are also facing the heat, and we've talked about this on this show. At the time of writing, Bitcoin miners' balance had declined significantly and hit a 10-month low. So this is an interesting, I always forget. There's that graph there.
That's
so
a
that
steep cliff right there.
Yeah, I mean, and you can see it was all at once. You know, it's just straight whoop, there it goes. So that means they're declining miners' balance is a sign that miners have been facing immense selling pressure. If BTC's price declines further, miners will have to sell the Bitcoin awarded to them so that they can turn a profit. So we've been talking about this a lot. Miner capitulation is a big part of it. This is something deep pockets showing faith in Bitcoin, even though miners seem to be losing their faith in Bitcoin, which they're not losing their faith. They're just trying to stay solvent. Bitcoin whales continue to show support of Bitcoin. According to data tracked by Glassnode, the number of addresses holding more than 10 coins has grown significantly. At present time, there's more than 150,000 addresses holding 10 Bitcoin. So you mentioned the fact that there's more individual whole coin wallets. There's also way more 10 coin wallets, which generally speaking, 10, kind of separates you into a different category of maybe I think it's 100 plus that makes you an entity. I don't know what they consider 10 Bitcoin.
Yeah, I was surprised to see 10 Bitcoin makes you considered a big guy in this. I mean, that's exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's not, it's obviously it's
gotta be more than that.
Yeah. But it's just, they're just meaning a large Bitcoin buyer.
Yeah.
So And then Don Alt was kind of echoing the point I had. FTX imploded. We made a new low that was barely 10% below the previous one. At this rate, if we want to go down 50%, Satoshi's got to come back and start selling. Coinbase has to burn down. CZ has to go to basically the impact is getting to be less and less on these really dramatic negative news pieces. And I tend to agree. It makes me feel better about the fact that we could be near bottom. I still think we've got one more, and we noticed it with the last Fed raise, right? Like, it really didn't impact the price nearly as much as all the previous ones had. So I still think we'll get one more 0.5 in December here, and that could very well mark, we could start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel at that point, in my opinion. I still think, can you use Ledger Live as a hot wallet? Sure. Why not?
I got a question for everyone.
Do it.
Let's say worst case scenario, a Tether collapse, a Binance collapse. Where do you think Bitcoin is going?
Tether collapse?
Yeah, Tether collapse. 3K. Yeah, I would. Yeah, that's the crypto savvy scenario. I think if we saw a Tether collapse or a Binance collapse, we'd be talking sub 4,000.
That would be time to sell your cat, sell your hat, and sell your baseball bat, because we're getting some Bitcoin at that point.
Is that a saying? That's pretty.
No, I just came up with that.
I like that.
Yeah. How many true cycles do you feel we have left? So there's the theory of diminished returns, meaning GTB, Grayscale, BTC, and Solvent could be the bottom. I agree. Yeah. If that happens, I see that as a plausible scenario. I don't really see Tether or Binance going down as a likely scenario in this market. I just think they both have so much money and they understand this market very well. They've been in it a long time. Survival tends to strengthen the strongest already. So I don't see those going down, but GBTC is one that I could see as it's a very real possibility right now with Genesis going down, with how low the share price is for GBTC. So they're going to have to raise some money. Now, I do think those guys at Digital Currency Group know how to raise money. And if there is a hole that needs to be covered for solvency, they'll be able to do it. Yeah. But yeah, that would be big. I mean, that'd be the number one public, known Bitcoin address having to liquidate a lot of Bitcoin.
Right.
So
right after we wrote up just understanding the Genesis and that whole debacle that Grayscale's involved with yesterday, Genesis put out a tweet. Apparently, they're looking for another $1 billion on top.
Yeah, they want $1 billion basically to be able to go with business as usual. So it's like Genesis being in trouble is what indirectly affects Grayscale, because if that goes under and Grayscale, it's just another cascading effect. So Grayscale declares business as usual despite sister company Genesis Global Capital suspending withdrawals. So that happened the last few days. It's part of what impacted Gemini as well. Digital asset manager Grayscale Investments is seeking to reassure investors they will not be affected by Genesis in the wake of FTX collapse. Genesis Global is the lending arm of crypto investment bank Genesis Global Trading, and they announced suspension on Wednesday in response to extreme market dislocation and loss of industry confidence caused by FTX implosion. According to Amanda Cowie, Vice President of Communications and Marketing for Digital Currency Group, the parent company of Grayscale, Genesis, and also CoinDesk, which that was just a funny thing a lot of people were pointing out, was CoinDesk was the one who leaked that balance sheet that kind of started a lot of this stuff. Right. So everybody, that was kind of the joke. Like Barry's small company is, like a $500,000 or I don't know if it's $5 million or $500 million investment costing him billions of dollars now. But Grayscale announced via Twitter on Wednesday that Genesis Global Capital is not a counterparty or service provider for any Grayscale product. Here's their tweet. Today, Genesis Capital, a subsidiary of Grayscale affiliate, announced that it is temporarily suspending redemptions and new loan operations. It is not a counterparty or service provider for Grayscale product as a result. Grayscale products continue to operate as business as usual, and recent events have no impact on operations. The digital manager's flagship, GBTC, a fund which invests to buy shares in order to gain exposure to Bitcoin, was trading at a 40% discount. The discount narrowed slightly to 37%. Thanks in part to ARK Investment Management purchasing another 315,000 shares. Let's see. Genesis balance sheet bad debt would need immediate recapitalization from DCG, said Bernstein research analyst. It was unclear if DCG would have the free reserves to top up Genesis given the size of the Genesis balance sheet. And by implication, if DCG would have to unwind its liquid GBTC product, it would create challenges for a whole set of market participants intertwined with GBTC as collateral.
Mm.
So I don't. What do you guys think? Probability that they have to. Let's see. Last week, Genesis disclosed that its derivatives unit had about 175 million in locked funds in FTX as an account. As a result, DCG opted to strengthen Genesis' balance sheet with an equity infusion of 140 million. So they already gave him 140 million to fix this problem. That was like, all right, that's an easy fix.
Yep.
You know, we'll just boom, we'll give you that. But that's not a huge part of their business. The trading part, yes, they have trading, but they were mostly a lending, you know, a major OTC lending platform. So
Well, God, you know, I don't know. I think that this might be Kathy Wood's one time where she might have made a correct trade in the last few years. I don't know.
She's buying bottoms
Yeah,
now.
I mean, she might be. That's that kind of stuck out to me. You know, and yeah, I in my research on Barry Silbert, Grayscale, DCG, I don't think that they are going to roll over very easily. I think that their pockets are pretty deep, and there's a lot of background investors that would be interested in hoisting that organization up, in particular from the connections that he had to begin with before he ever got involved with this market. So I definitely feel like they're probably not going to go down, but that's just my personal sentiment.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. That is my personal sentiment as well. It's definitely a real possibility. Don't count it out. You know, everything, you know, put it this way. If you had asked me 3 months ago or 4 months ago about FTX, I'd say, oh no, I think they'll be fine. You know, I would BlockFi. Oh, it seems like they're going to be okay. You know, but it seemed, you know, anything I've been asked about almost has gone under at this point, whether it's Voyager, BlockFi, Celsius, you know, FTX, like they just keep coming. So unless they're giving, you know, the good news is we're seeing a trend towards transparency, which will be good for the entire industry, I believe. I think it will win us favor with regulators down the line. It will win customer support back. And that's what the industry is built on. We're not supposed to have to put this much trust in these institutions. And, you know, that's what we were trying to get away from to begin with. We've got institutions in crypto now, and look what they did. The same thing they always do. And so we've learned, hopefully we've learned our lesson again for the millionth time, that when you put trust in people, you guys always ask that, Trust Wallet or Exodus Wallet, just use both. I use both, you know, but they're both good.
Diversify.
too.
Yeah. What's that?
I mean, just diversification, man. Just diversify. You know, if one goes down, you'd like hot wallets, have them on 3 different hot wallets. You know.
Yeah. Or just try them and like decide, like, which one do you like better?
Right.
You know, trust is simple. Exodus, you know, like they were going to have different features. So just try them out. You can use your Exodus wallet with your Trezor if you want maximum security.
See? There you go.
Do we have any stories left? Because I have questions from the chat.
Go ahead. Yeah. I mean, I got stories, but go ahead and ask us questions.
Collaterty said, how many true cycles do you feel we will have?
Glad you grabbed that. I wanted to ask that question too. So true, like, because I started to ask it. We were having, you know, there's the theory of diminishing returns, obviously. So we saw less of a return on Bitcoin this cycle than we did on last cycle. I think we're going to break that. I think we're going to see bigger returns next cycle, because I think some of the stuff that was going on with FTX is part of what caused us. Like, we were looking at record numbers today where they were pretty much all short. Like, they were shorting the entire market the whole time, trying to get us to go down. Right. So I think we're going to have a really good bull market in 24 and 25. So I think we'll see less diminished returns. And I'll say, so if we count that as one, like how many more true bull cycles, I'll say that I think we'll get it. Let's see, 24, 25, 28 and 29. I think we'll get 3 to 4. I think we'll get 3 to 4 more good cycles, in my opinion.
How many do you think, Taco? What do we got left in this engine? How much gas is left in the engine?
Like what was it, 2017? Didn't we get to like an 800 billion market cap?
Approximately.
All right, and then this last one we got like 3 trillion.
Did we get that high?
Yeah, we hit 3 trill.
So I think we'll push towards like gold's market cap of 10 trillion.
10 trillion, yeah, that's a good number to look at.
And then that's where it gets interesting, because maybe we just like kind of go sideways. Maybe we'll just kind of continue like the drawdown and then the explosion and then drawdown, explosion. So maybe it just continues, because I mean, technology is always going to advance. There's always going to be new coins, new technology. There's always going to be Bitcoin to fall back on. So it's so hard to predict like cycles going from 4 years to 8 years, 12 years, 20 years. Like the last Bitcoin is going to be mined in 2140, right?
Yep.
That's the last one.
So you think we'll, as long as Bitcoin's being mined, we'll be having, the 4-year cycle, more or less.
Yeah.
I agree with Chemistry Bro and BTC Starship. I feel like there's 2 more.
2 more cycles, 24, 25, 28, 29.
Right.
And adoption
And
places.
adoption after that.
What do you think, Johnny? Give us your take. Get up on that mic, dude. Give me that sound. Give me the love.
I would say between 2 to 3 as well, just because every year technology continues to grow and people got access to stuff that they didn't have access to before, and now if you're asking about the whole crypto sector, I think that's going to continue to have multiple bull cycles. But for Bitcoin itself, the market cap can only get so big before it becomes way hard for it to be moved by any one person or any one country or anything along those lines. So those are going to start to diminish gratefully.
Nice.
Yeah. No, so that's a good distinction to make. I don't know if you guys were talking about specifically Bitcoin versus the whole crypto market, but I think we'll see all sorts of projects coming out for years and years to come, just like we did with the internet. The next great internet startup could have been started 2 years ago.
Well,
who
and that's
knows?
what I'm like kind of going off of is the internet adoption curve. If you look at the internet adoption curve and pair it over the Bitcoin adoption curve, we're right on track, but it will kind of come to a flatter surface by 2030, 2032 is what it looks like for Bitcoin in particular. But to Johnny's point, we're going to find new use cases, new needs within technology to automate different types of new introduced systems. And this innovation in actual blockchain communication, I think, is just going to be the foundation that a lot of communication, finance, law, real estate contracts, a lot of things that we see today that have middlemen and people involved with the process are going to be automated in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the market potential is massive, and the market as it stands right now is really tiny. I mean, somebody made a good point. Where is it?
Scroll up a little bit.
No, I know what it said. I just was going to say the person's name, but just basically, imagine the size of the market if you took out the stable coins. Like basically, we've got Bitcoin at Bitcoin at 300 billion and Ethereum roughly at 150 billion, and then you take the stable coins out, like you're really $450 billion market is 90% of the entire crypto market at this point, without the stable coins in there. So there is a huge upside potential. I mean, even if Bitcoin did just get to a $10 trillion market cap, you're talking, and a way different, what was it? You'd be, we were at 1 trillion when it peaked out, right?
The last cycle?
So.
Yeah.
For Bitcoin, it was 1 trillion.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we were at 10 trillion at that time, you're talking, that'd be a $690,000 Bitcoin at $10 trillion.
That would be so hot.
Yeah. Now, obviously, the supply is going to be slowly increasing, so it's going to be a little bit of a different number. But $10 trillion. So you can just imagine what every other coin would be doing if Bitcoin was getting 200, 300, 400, 500. If it starts pushing up to $1 million Bitcoin, there's a lot of opportunity. Is the bottom line. Like the market is still tiny. The entire crypto market cap is still smaller than the market cap of just Apple.
Shout out to Jez888 from the Ukraine. He said, "Hey guys and girls, you are great. Thank you. I heard Celsius are doing things to pay back on claims. Do you know about non-US clients? I only had 2 ETH on there, sold the other 15 in the book."
I do not know about non-US stuff. They are trying to pay out on some claims. I think if you go to their website, they give you the information to do it. If your account was listed accurately in the bankruptcy file, I don't think you have to do anything. You should automatically get filed for a claim. Again, but I don't know at all for non-US people, so I can't really speak to that. But that was the case for what I understood. If you're correctly listed in the bankruptcy filing, you don't have to do anything. You're already listed there. But all that stuff's getting delayed. It doesn't look like that's going to be happening anytime soon either.
Oof.
I did hear, wasn't it? Binance is now stepping in to buy Voyager. Isn't that correct? Did you hear that?
Yes, I heard
The front end of
I heard
it.
that they were going to start trying to rebid for its assets.
Yeah, because obviously Voyager was supposed to be absorbed by FTX US. Obviously, that's not happening now. So Voyager's back at square one. And I do think I saw a story that said Binance was looking to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to shift gears here a little bit, talk a little metaverse with you guys. Metaverse explosion will be driven by B2B, not retail consumers. I wanted to ask you guys about this. This is a theory I've had for a while, that basically this guy from KPGM said the goal is to build multi-million-dollar businesses opportunities for the firm through the use of metaverse technologies by 2025. I think the really interesting applications are going to be in the business to business context. And I think that actually that's where the money is going to be, even more so than consumer driven participation. So I think that especially for VR, like if you think of a VR version of a metaverse where people are actually engaging and interacting, I've been a big proponent for, it sounds weird if you're not used to it, but VR meetings or like VR conferences where you meet, you know, like you, so I used to go to this conference. If you're in the car industry, SEMA is a big trade show that happens in Vegas, and that people come from all over the world to talk and have meetings and talk with price buyers and manufacturers about the new products. And, you know, like Toyota, every single car that, or every single part that's in a Toyota, you know, has to be sourced from somewhere. So this is the place where everybody in the world gathers to figure all that stuff out. You don't have to now do that all in person. You can be doing it online. You could be doing it B2B. Taco, I know you spend a lot of time playing, a lot of time in the metaverse. We've already got our first disagreeer that just said straight up false. I think gaming is going to be the driver. Urkelson. A lot of people do. What do you guys think? Do you think gaming is going to push the metaverse forward first, or do you think it's going to be like a B2B, you know, business to business type interactions?
Good question. I'm like kind of think about it like a business interacting with another business.
Right. So it'd be like, it's basically, it's like a Zoom. Could become a Zoom replacement. So instead of doing a Zoom call, you get a little bit more personal interaction. If you're doing a VR call, you can hear directional, you can see, you know, hand motions sometimes. Like if you've been on Oculus, for example, and played or I used to run around in Alt Space VR. It's not the most intense, but you know, it's good enough. And you realize it is a more personal experience if you're having conferences and basically meetups. I used to go to some crypto meetups in Alt Space VR, and it's like, oh, cool. I can see that group of 4 people talking over there. And as I get closer to them, I can start to hear their conversation. And if they turn and walk away, I don't hear their conversation. So you could start to have corporate events, corporate meetups, and things like that in the VR, where there's a high enough incentive to create something like that may not be fun, but it will start to create a use case for a platform.
I could definitely see that, but I do feel like games are going to be a big part of mass adoption. I'm just trying to think, like, me personally, I don't know if being in a VR meeting I would want to do that.
Right. No, a lot of people won't. And that's going to be your initial reaction. But they said the same thing about Zoom, to be fair.
Right. And then what was
I was thinking trade shows a lot of like there's trade shows for almost every single industry, and there's cost to sending people there. You know, there's going to be health fears. I started to develop this theory obviously very strongly in 2020 and 2021 when everybody in the world was worried about travel, was worried about mass gathering events and things like that. I was like, oh, okay, well, obviously you could create a place where you do all of that in VR, and it becomes very easy. You can have these meetings, and you know, with VR, you've got translators and stuff. I don't know. I just thought it'd be interesting to facilitate those type of experiences because the actual build out of the environment doesn't have to be that great. It's a very bare bones use case, really, where like the real use case is creating a gathering place for people to come together and talk or share or transact. And it's not, you don't have to build it out to where it's a fun, engaging, cool environment where everything looks awesome. And, you know, it'd be like when we were talking about our sandbox land, right? Like what was one of the first use cases of like, oh, well, let's have a place for Pluto Alliance meetup, where it's just like all we're doing is hanging out and meeting up and chatting. Like that's a consumer facing one, but it would be similar for a business, B2B. Oh, hey, subscribe for 15 months. T Salty. I feel like I haven't seen T Salty in a while. Where you been at, man?
Love it.
I've been looking for you.
Love it.
Maybe you just been here, just not chatting. But
So Rye Wentz says, I've worked in big corporate places. There's a monumental use case for this. I don't know if you can tell. I'm not really a big corporate America kind of guy, but I believe you. And what TJ was saying, it does make perfect sense. Like you guys are across the world and you want to be in a meeting, you want to get more visual, more like interaction, then yeah, the VR metaverse is definitely the place where it's going to be.
But Razmataz makes a good point. TG, you are 100% right, but will it need blockchain?
No, I wouldn't. Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Yeah, that kind of the GTA scenario. Like, we have GTA now as a metaverse. What's the reason? I think the interoperability might be where blockchain comes in, being able to connect and actually live world to world. That definitely could, in my mind, be a pusher.
T. Salty said he's been in Mexico. Interesting. What part? You said Dapper Lab's been busy too. I don't know if that was related to you being in Mexico, or are you just meaning Dapper Lab's busy on metaverse stuff. But welcome back, T. Salty. I was literally just talking about you the other day. I was like, hey, I haven't seen that. I used to see that name every single day, and I haven't seen him in a while. So glad to have you back. I hope you had a good time down there. Tell us where you were. So
One more
Taco, how much
question.
can you squat? Enso Mining.
In my heyday, I could do 5 plates. I think that's 485. There's a video of it on my Instagram.
Yeah,
if you
4
wanna
plates
check
is
it out.
405. So that's more than
490.
yeah, that's
Shout out your
Oh,
Instagram.
490.
strong man Instagram.
CryptoTaco.eth. I'm pretty sure it'll come up. CryptoTaco.eth.
He barely fits through the front door when he walks in every morning.
Bump into it.
Yeah.
Take it out.
I have one more question.
Mhm.
Crypto Thorn said, I found it in. Oh, wait. Sorry, that's not the question I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask Tronsky22 said, thoughts on Twitter shutting its doors due to Interledger / ISO 222 implementation. Just a theory, but many banks are also offline until November 22.
Yeah, I missed that. What happened?
Yeah.
Did Twitter like close and open within 13 minutes or something? I don't understand.
That's why I was asking.
I've seen 2 different reports. One of the reports was that a disgruntled employee with access to the key card admission system
I saw that.
basically disabled the system. The other reports are saying that Elon himself locked all the employees out of the building, which I highly doubt. So that's still unclear, and I don't think we'd be putting our foot in our mouth with speaking on that because we're not there and we don't have proof.
Oh, you guys talked about it on ATB yesterday?
No, that broke.
Oh.
Yeah, I was paying attention to this last night when I couldn't go to sleep.
What I heard is he fired the guy who was doing all the badge
Yeah.
systems, so
Yeah.
they
Right.
couldn't get in. So they had to rehire him to get everyone back in.
That's
That's probably not true. I
no,
bet
that
this whole
sounds no. That
story is
actually
fake.
sounds pretty accurate. Like that sounds like something that would
Yeah.
happen when you're going through something like that. Like get rid of all these people. It's like, oh, not that guy.
Yeah.
We need that guy back.
We're-
Yeah.
You still have his number? Get him
Still
back.
need to be able to get into the building.
The Matrix said 495. That's my curl max. That's pretty good. Yeah.
ISO 2022 or 20022. What do we think? What do you guys think?
In interoperability with Twitter, was that the question?
No, just the alignment
general?
with banks. Yeah, seeing a lot of banks aligning
Yeah.
with it.
I mean, it's a real thing. I don't think I think obviously we've talked about it some on this channel. I know Crypto Mason talks about them a lot. There's a lot of people that exclusively buy those coins. It seems like they are aligned with the World Economic Forum. They are aligned with a lot of banks. They are aligned with Ripple is XRP does qualify into those categories. So it seems like it's gonna be it's worth taking a shot on, in my opinion.
And you can look it up yourself. I'm a big advocate of people doing their own research. If you just type into Google World Economic Forum tokenization, you will get a PDF explanation of how this is going to be implemented. But yeah, it's coming, and these are going to be communicators for CBDC operations and nation state money. So it's a big deal. Let's go.
They said not. The Matrix said not your keys, not your Twitter offices. Elon's got to start self-custodying those office keys. That's a good point. Yeah. So.
Who are we rating today?
Yeah. Well, let's see. Is Hit Gaming on,
Let me
or
see.
look for a crypto channel?
I found Dr. D Gen.
Are you streaming?
Oh, he's streaming tonight.
Okay. Yeah, they'll be streaming tonight at 9 p.m. Frankie Candles on Hit Gaming stream. So if you guys want to see Frankie Candles on Hit Gaming, you guys should go check out here. I'm usually here. I'll put something in the chat because this is what I use to sign into to pop out the chat.
Hit Network Gaming at 9 p.m.
Follow me
with Joel and Frankie.
Frankie Candles gives us the good stuff. I love having Frankie in house.
Yeah, Frank is a good one. Everybody loves Frank. Real quick before we wrap up, did I close it? Where'd it go? I did want to show. Oh, here it is. The Nupal Glassnode. We talk about this chart a lot. I'm gonna see if I can.
There you
I don't know if I'm gonna have to zoom in and over because you guys still can't. For some reason, it's cutting off the right side of the screen. But basically, look, when it's in the orange, generally speaking, when this graph is in the orange, it's a good time to buy. Or in the pink, I guess, depending on what you want to call it.
Yeah.
you know, it's they call it capitulation. You know, clearly you can see in this range was a really good time to buy. In this range in here was a really good time to buy. This is most of 2019. And we're starting to now get into that range. I wish it's really not showing. Like, we just fell off a cliff here just recently, and we're now at what I would consider really good price accumulation areas. So not to say there isn't lower to go. Nupal is just one really good indicator, and if you start just flipping through a handful of other ones, you start to see a lot of the top bottom indicators are flashing, accumulating in this zone. So I would say don't outsmart yourself. Try to accumulate in times when prices are down, take profits at times when prices are up. You know, you don't have to nail the top, you don't have to nail the bottom, but buy Bitcoin. Alts still can fall a lot further. I wouldn't be married to any alts. Accumulate, not financial advice. Stay safe, talk crypto, convert somebody, help a friend buy Bitcoin, help a friend self-custody Bitcoin, give somebody a hug, be nice, give some light in the world. It's Friday.
Kiss your grandmother too.
Have some fun.
Call your mom.
Call your mom.
That's right.
Johnny, say something. Leave them with a parting thought.
You know, do your own research. That's very important. You know, always try to soak in as much new information as possible. That's all you can do. Nothing's ever for certain. So don't beat yourself on the head when you're wrong.
Good advice. Facts.
Sound advice.
Love it.
All right. See you guys. We'll see you guys back here on the same time Monday.
Peace
Have a
out.
great
out.
weekend.
Basement out.